funny story of how I got that one, actually.
What?
I was looking at it, you know how I like the bottles?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of thought it was cool. What's it called? Porcha de America?
De America.
And I farted really badly as I was walking down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, and someone was walking down the aisle, so I just grabbed it and ran. All right, here we go.
Okay. Mom. Dad. Juliet. Nui.
We did it.
Well, yeah, you did some ad libs in there.
Wait, what?
Ad libs?
What's that mean?
Like ad libs are like improv.
Oh yeah.
You did a little bit of improv in there. He goes to karaoke once and thinks he's all that.
What do you want me to say? I went to karaoke and I proved to everyone that I am a dominant force in the singing world.
You know what? Yeah, let's use that. That's a good descriptor.
Well, Neve, why don't you tell everyone what we're talking about?
So on Saturday night for my birthday party, we went out and got some really freaking good Japanese barbecue, and then went and sung karaoke.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
And it was a really, really good time.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. As someone that sucks at singing, also had a good time, so I was stoked on that.
Yeah, but I think that's not what like these karaoke rooms are about. They're just like chilling and singing with your friends, and feel like everyone had a good time. Everyone sang.
Yeah, that was the funnest part. Was like, well, okay, it was before. So just for viewers, we went out and there was 12 of us at the GOOOOO,
dinner, yeah.
which is a Japanese barbecue, and it was amazing.
It was so good.
I want to go there again and not drink as much.
Well, you were, to be fair, I was worried when you started off the night with a Long Island iced tea.
I had 2 Long Island iced teas. We had 2 shots or 3 shots of tequila
before we came, yeah.
No, but I was fine. It wasn't like I was like hammered. I just like, the food was really good, but you know when you drank a lot and you just like scarf it down like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
But my God, that food was so good.
It was incredible.
Everything we got was so good. Like there was the calamari came out, and I'd say that was the least appetizing of the dishes, but only because it was really good. It was just calamari.
Yeah.
But the bacon things.
Oh, the bacon crispies. Yeah.
The bacon crispies, and you put salt on them. That was so good.
You dip them in salt.
There was the nigiri, but it was beef nigiri. I'd never had that before. That was crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really glad that I picked that little set menu, because the set menu was for 3, and then we got like a couple add-ons and all 4 of us ate it.
Yeah.
But I think that was like the perfect amount of food as well. Like
agree.
everyone else was so stuffed.
Yeah, I mean that. I always think we got lucky too. So they split the tables up. It was a table of 8 and a table of 4.
Yeah.
And we sat with Armand and Rachel because they were other than Dax, they didn't know anyone there. And I think that was actually blessing in disguise for eating, because 8 people at a table, you're inevitably just gonna order way more food. As opposed to ours was like, we actually were like, yeah, this is enough for us.
Yeah. And everything was delicious. I loved everything.
Yeah, everything was so good. So we did that, and that was. We're going back there with your parents, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's 100% a thing we have to go do. And just cooking it on the barbecue, for anyone that's never done Korean barbecue or that was my first Japanese barbecue, but Korean's the exact same.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'd be upset if I said that. Where you like have a little barbecue in the middle.
In the table,
the table. Even like they had corn with cheddar cheese. And randomly, that was good.
That was really, really freaking good,
It made me uncomfortable because I don't really agree with the idea of melted cheese on corn being good, but it was.
It's like similar to Mexican street corn.
Yeah, I guess. It was one of those things that I thought was weird. I had it and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I really liked it.
And then we went to Switch, which was where was Switch? Switch was on Robson.
Yeah, Switch was on Robson.
That place was crazy.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Like I was expecting it to be super low budget. Like you walk in, you have your little room. Maybe there was a little tiny bar.
Yeah.
But everything would be just small little rooms. Because the ones I'd done, there used to be one. You know where I work now. You know how downstairs there's the pet hospital there?
Yeah.
That used to be a karaoke.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
I wish I was still there.
When we were first 19, we used to go drink and sing at karaoke there.
That's so fun.
So anyhow, that it was shitty though, like so small.
Yeah.
So that's what I was expecting. And then this one, like we walk in and it felt like you were in a like high-end lounge with like old school lounge, super fancy. And then everything high vaulted ceilings. You go into your room and there was, I don't know how many rooms there were. There was a ton.
I think there was like 10 or 12 rooms.
Did you go to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Because when you went to the bathroom, you walked forever past rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun. So much fun. And the room we were in was huge. Like there was 14 of us. So I think 14, yeah.
I think so. My only complaint about... no, I think there was less than 14. But my only complaint about our room was the lights were not cool.
They didn't have it was either off or on changing color or on with like a strobe light.
Yeah. And even the changing color lights
had strobe bits in it.
Yeah, they were aggressive. Like it wasn't chill changing lights. So that was my only complaint. You nailed Stan.
I feel like they could have had more songs. There are a couple of songs I wanted to sing that they didn't have.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
but so that's my only complaint. But well, cracked out my raps as per usual.
Stan was amazing when you and Armand did it, and then it was really just you doing it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was hyped. And then everyone showed up, and you did "Love the Way You Lie."
I did.
Which
yeah.
was also good.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I was most worried about. A lot of the karaoke, so that was the highest rated karaoke with a 3.6.
Yeah.
A lot of them you read into and they're only Korean songs. Not even Asian, like Japanese, Chinese.
Yeah, just Korean, K-pop.
Korean, yeah. I'm not surprised to hear the set list wasn't the best. Yeah.
But they still had a ton of songs and I had a really good time. They didn't have Misery Business, which I was bummed about, but
that would have been fun to see.
Yeah,
I thought it was fun too because our whole squad was down to just sing every song.
Yeah,
because it's one thing if like a few people keep singing and everyone else is just kind of there, but to have everyone all just singing the whole time is really fun.
Everyone was super hyped.
And Hunter's a really good singer.
Hunter was really good.
Not like really good, but like he can sing and keep a melody and like entertain.
Yeah. I just had the best time, honestly. Like, it was just really good people. And I don't know if you remember this, but, like, shots just kept appearing.
Yeah, well, they were shots of
soju. Yeah.
But, it's...
but, like, every now and again, another person would come in and be like, I got a round of shots. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
I was schwasty.
But I like the soju for that, is you can drink so much more soju and shots than actual shots.
That's true.
Because soju's 12%.
Yeah, but it's hella sugar.
Yeah, but at least it's not, like, 40% tequila shots. And then
I would like, the tequila shots, they're 40% and you feel schwasty on the night. But... I get less of a hangover with tequila because it's not as like sugary as soju.
Fair enough.
But I was feeling fresh the next day. I was fine.
Yeah, me too.
You were awful. You were a horrible, horrible person the next day.
Yeah, I just needed to sleep.
Yeah.
We'll just skim over that part. And so what are you doing this weekend? You have your birthday party.
This weekend, so I'm going out with the girls,
which is
Chloe, Elsa, and Sarah.
Nice.
And we're going to Oddfish.
That's odd.
Fish. Good joke. Sick, bro.
I'm sorry, that sucked.
But I've heard of it before. It's meant to be good, and they're doing dine out. So.
Oh, it's a restaurant.
Yeah, it's a restaurant.
I thought it was a DJ booth.
No, and then we're going to some place in Kits called Bimini's.
Oh, I've heard of Bimini's before.
Yeah, apparently it's been there since like the 70s and they've just reopened after like being closed over COVID and stuff. I don't know if it's a club. I don't really know what it is, but everyone said it was good. So
yeah,
I was like, okay.
I can't remember what it is.
I think it's either like a club or a bar or something with a dance floor. I don't know. Nice. But cool. Yeah, I'm stoked to go.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It'll be super fun.
Yeah, and we'll be having a special guest on the podcast tomorrow while you're out, and I'll just hang with babes.
Yeah. Oh, have you got on? Oh, you've got Joach on tomorrow.
No, a special guest that no one beep. No one heard that. I want to get. One thing that podcasts do.
Yeah.
Is you're supposed to it's specifically for if you're going on YouTube. YouTube has like really harsh like if you say certain words. You just get demonetized and taken down very quickly, right?
Like what?
Like for sure saying the word pedophile. Like if you
really,
yeah, like if you say pedophile, they have to bleep it out because if you say it, like say this, someone said it once,
yeah,
nothing happens. But if you have like pedophile comes up a few times in there, like something like that,
yeah,
or the N word, you instantly get demonetized.
Yeah.
So what people do is they'll have a pen and paper, and as they're talking, they note down any like timestamp of any time there has to be something that's beeped out.
Really?
So I want to do that, but I don't want to mark down like, oh, Neve said a swear. I just want to have a beep button, and then halfway, like it's random points, I'll just edit it, and it'll just be like you're talking, you're like, so I was at the beep, and I'll say you were like going to get gas, but it's like beep, and then it comes back in.
What? But how are we gonna do that if we haven't got any like video?
No, it's what do you mean? No, it's just when I edit it, I can just like listen, and then I can like put a beep in over you, so like edit your, like it's you're saying something.
It's so ridiculous.
I just want to do it.
I'm so silly.
They'll be like, yeah, me and Juliet were going to and then Juliet said
duck.
Duck.
Juliet said duck.
Okay, so I've got some stuff here.
Okay.
First off, this is our 4th week in a row.
Let's go.
We have safety. Our record's 10, and we're at 4. We're almost there.
We're almost halfway.
Think of that. Twice we've got to 10. That's a pretty good record.
Yeah,
Twice
that's
in a
not
row,
bad.
We get 10 weeks in a row. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, this is a really interesting one. Okay, so New York City went 5 days without a shooting.
And that's an accomplishment?
And guess how long that's been? The first time in how long?
How long?
Take a guess first.
I don't know, like 10 years?
30 years.
30 years?
Doesn't that seem impossible?
That's insane.
Like it just seems impossible to me that 5 days without a shooting, but that just sums up America. Like when as soon as I heard that, because it was a guy talking and he was like, hey, did you hear it's 5 days without a shooting in New York? And he was like, oh, wicked. And he was like, cool. Like you're thinking of it, you're like, okay, don't really think much of it.
Yeah.
But then when they're like, it's been 30 years since that happened, you're like, Jesus Christ.
That's insane.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I had a client today that was from England. He was from London. He was
right.
like, but he lives here now with this girl, and he was saying that like there's a lot of knife crime in England. Like that's the big
knife
thing
crime.
there. Tons and tons of stabbings. And it was really just interesting hearing him talk about all the stabbings and how brutal it is, and how people just get shanked all the time, and like all this stuff. But then he was like, but it's better than having guns.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, so wait, I don't get it. None of the gangs have guns? And he's like, no, they all have guns. And I was like, what? So I don't understand. So he's like there's still guns in
crime,
England.
Yeah, there's guns in England, but they're harder to get a hold of. Like you're having to like do some black market shit to get guns. Like you have to have the knowledge. You can't just walk into a fucking Walmart and get a gun like you can in the States, you know what I mean?
You can't do that anymore. They got rid of that like 5 years ago.
Well, wherever it is then.
Yeah, I don't know how I have mixed feelings. Like first off, I think what America has is just stupid. I'm not advocating at any point in this that I think we should have machine guns here.
Yeah.
I feel like it is kind of a bit of a farce, this idea of like not allowing the general public to have guns because they'll shoot each other, because I feel like most of the people that are shooting people will get to guns eventually. And again, I'm not referring to America I'm referring to like normal places, like what I'd assume England, like Canada. Like, we have guns here.
Yeah, we have guns here.
So I don't know, sometimes when I hear people that are so like, oh, guns are the worst, they're the problem, like, oh no, I kind of disagree with that. But again,
I don't think guns are the problem. I think the accessibility to guns is the problem.
Fair enough.
Like, if you make guns accessible to pretty much anyone, then yeah, that's going to be a problem, because there are people who are not right in the head. Do you know what I mean? And if they have easy access to guns, then that's when shit gets dangerous. But if like here, where you have to get your license and do all of the paperwork, and then your guns are like strictly like limited, like for example, if you have a gun in your car and you get pulled over, you have to have proof that you're going the shortest way to get to the gun range, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Here?
Yeah.
No, that was handguns.
That was just handguns?
So you can walk around, or you can drive around with a shotgun in the back here. You can't have, so there's a locking rule. So you have to have it double locked. And I don't think you can drive around with a shotgun. Like, I couldn't have one in the back seat of my Corolla, but I could have one in the back of my Corolla.
Right, in the trunk.
Again, double locked.
Yeah.
You can't just have it floating around. And you can't have ammunition in it. You can't, if I had a pistol, because those are restricted firearms, okay?
Yeah.
So here you have restricted and non-restricted. Non-restricted would be shotguns, hunting rifles, bolt actions, like basically anything you can get in Canada that's just normal legal.
Yeah.
Then there's non-restricted, which are pistols. And it's so dumb. This is such a liberal thing. Anything that looks scary is considered a non-restricted or a restricted firearm.
What do you mean looks scary?
That's the legal wording for how Canada now, since Justin Trudeau specifically, labels firearms. So if you deem it, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that looks like an assault rifle, and you're scared by it, that's a restricted firearm.
But that's so like varying on who's looking at it.
Like some people see a gun and think it's the thing, and then so it's so stupid. But yeah, no, the main thing is it's now different. Like, pistols got banned here because there was a shooting in the States. And it made no sense.
Yeah.
But it was basically before, like, if I had a pistol, it'd have to be locked, keyed, all that stuff. And then say the cops pull me over and they're like, where are you going? I'm going to the gun range. And they look at where my gun's registered.
Yeah.
And let's say the gun range is down Delbrook, turn left on onto the highway, off the highway at Lonsdale, and then left on 23rd, and that's the gun range. I have to be on those streets. So if I'm on 24th, then they technically could take your gun away, but I also don't think they'd be that much of a dickhead if you're like a block off this thing. There was construction. We don't care.
I mean, I think it's more like if you're obviously like you're not going to and from the gun range, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I also, the problem with guns too is I'm not a psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, that's the problem is you deal with most of the people you're talking to are like sane, normal people.
Yeah.
The fear is the one psycho that gets a gun.
Exactly. Yeah. And the problem with guns is you can target so many people from like one spot as well. Like, you look at the Las Vegas shootings that happened over that festival. The dude was in a room and he just like popped people because like no one was going to stop him until the cops got there. You know what I mean? Whereas like with like knife crime is still an issue, but there's a lot less chance of it being fatal and a lot less chance of you being able to commit like a mass attack before getting stopped.
Okay, fair enough.
That's I think that's
that's fair. You're right. Like, you can't stab 50 people, but if you have 2 machine guns, you can shoot 50 people.
In like 10 seconds.
That reminds me, I think one of the biggest conspiracies that disappeared was that Vegas shooting.
What do you mean?
Like that, why, what was the motive of that shooter? How
I
did
don't
he
know.
get, have you looked into, do you know anything about that shooting?
I just know that there was a shooting at a music festival and he was in a hotel room.
Okay, there's so many crazy things from that. Like, there's like a helicopter that was flying on overhead, and there's multiple videos of, you can see it like pelting bullets down. The video of the guy getting there, he literally has on all the hotel cameras like bags and bags of what they are assuming are the guns now, and he's like so clearly putting them in there, and like all, I don't know, you'd have to look into it, because I'm not like up to date on it, but I remember I was so into it, watching all this stuff, being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And then just as the news cycle is, other things came up, but it didn't make sense why the dude did it. Like,
I mean, do any of these mass shootings that happen in America, I think they're all just like sick people.
Well, to a degree, no, but yes, like a lot of them are sick people, but
there's motivation.
Yeah, it's I don't know. If you know what I'll do, I'll look into it more and see what happens. Maybe all the loose ends, because it's so far off. But I remember,
it was a long time ago.
And when I say the conspiracy of it, I'm talking like the first 2 or 3 months it happened. I'm not talking like I'm seeing stuff now about it, right? Anyhow, that was weird. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it happened quite a while ago. I think I was still living in England when it happened.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was a crazy one.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not really like news in America, because they happen every day.
Yeah, it's
So it's like, yeah, I think, and I've said this so many times to you before, I just think any country where you have to be like scared about your child going to school because they're doing like gun drills should be classed as a third world country. Absolutely. Like, I don't care. There's no one that can change my mind on that.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't know. I think that America has, they're just dumb now. But I don't mean, like, that's so dumb, harsh to say, because I know there's, like, a ton of people that are probably way smarter than me there and educated. I just think that, like, by dumb, I think they think they're so much smarter than everyone. Like, this arrogance of, like, we're America.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, yeah, like, America's got a lot of great stuff and have done great stuff, but you're not the all god.
Yeah.
You think you are.
I think Americans think America's the best place ever, but don't look objectively at America.
I was listening to a guy talk about this new AI chip that China has, and he was basically talking about just kind of what, like, I'm kind of echoing his sentiment, to be honest. It's not my own feelings. Is he was saying, like, okay, so America, what did we make? We made this super crazy AI chip with all this power and money and blah, 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 and the most high-tech stuff. But then China, they got a whole bunch of their stuff, like, screwed over, because apparently the reason this AI came to be was because America did something with the chips. So China wasn't able to gain access to the chips to make these high-powered AI.
Right.
So super smart people figured out a way to use the old technology to make a better better AI than the new chips could make. And what this guy was saying was like, well, that just shows you how smart these people are. They don't need...
Jesus.
I spilled a ton of wine there.
All over Juliet's toys.
They don't need the latest and greatest. They're like, they have ingenuity and like they can think and figure out and problem solve. Whereas here, like in America, and to be fair, I feel like it's kind of the same in North America. I do think Canada and America are just kind of like, we're a mini America. Like,
yeah.
In a lot of our stuff.
Mini more liberal America.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
But it is a fair point. Like, if you always have the best stuff, you feel like you're smarter. Now, specifically now, the way technology works, like, I don't know how to make a cell phone. I don't know how a computer works. I don't know all this stuff. I just know how to type it in and then read it.
Yeah.
So how smart am I versus how much is it just readily available?
Yeah.
And it's like, when you are forced into like thinking new ways, like the pressure of it, I guess, makes you like, pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what he was getting at, was like, there's this arrogance versus like, things are just done for us.
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I feel like there's a lot of things that kind of the westernized world has got wrong. Not saying that, you know, like, I want to go live in China tomorrow, but like there's definitely like some values that I think the westernized world just kind of like doesn't adhere to, that would make our lives more beneficial.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I think, like, I mean, you've seen me, I'm reading all these like religious texts and meditating and stuff.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said for, this leads into something that I put down.
Okay.
Where is it? Consciousness is intuitive versus logic, which is science. And I think both exist. But the problem is, so consciousness can exist within science.
Yeah.
But science has a trouble accepting that consciousness exists, because consciousness isn't a measurable thing. Science is very empirical, data, everything you can see, touch, perceive, therefore is.
Yeah.
Whereas consciousness is not that. It's like the opposite of that almost. It's and one thing I've started to realize is how, so I've been trying to key in to the idea. First off, before I say this, do you have anything to feel about that initial thought?
No, continue on.
I've been listening to a whole bunch of people talk about meditation and their consciousness and them like being able to like I shouldn't say transcend. I don't like that word. It's a stupid hippie annoying word. They've been able to like kind of like plane shift and meditate and go to these other states and stuff like that. And like, have you ever heard of the Muse?
No.
So the Muse is like anyone that does anything and becomes like, and something comes of it. So like if you sit down and you write a book and you write a Stephen King novel and you go, Stephen King, where'd this all come from? He might reference the Muse. And it's like anyone that's good at anything they do, they get into this flow state where they're just doing what they do.
Right. It's like that kind of inspiration, like that divine inspiration or whatever.
Exactly. Divine, same difference. The Muse, divine inspiration. And I've been thinking how cool that is. But then I listened to someone talk about meditating and how the universe works and consciousness. And what they were saying was anything, you can see the outcomes to anything in all the science without understanding the science, but it has to be something you're truly passionate about. And it has to be something that's like you. So I can't just be like this. I want to discover the secrets of the universe and meditate and figure them out.
Right.
Because there's a full physical, maybe the universe is too, but I want to know new physics, not the whole universe. Okay. Well, Derek, you don't know anything about physics. Yeah. So why would you sitting there not thinking and breathing make you learn physics?
Yeah.
But so, right? Like that makes no sense. But if you are all about physics and your brain is always running in that cycle and connecting all those dots, and then you meditate, you might be able to wire yourself in to that kind of thinking, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I think what I realize that Muse or that like intuitiveness is when I'm massaging.
Yeah.
And what I realize,
I mean, that makes sense. You're super like in tune with the person that you're with at the same time.
And if I go quiet, that's the main thing. It has to go quiet. And I have my podcasts in now. Like I've told you, I listen to something, right? But the thing is, sometimes I listen to the podcast and I'm like there. I'm listening to like whatever. They're talking about LFC and I'm like, oh yeah. Other times, I don't really hear what they're saying. It's something that's like blocked everything out.
Yeah.
And now I'm in this weird flow state where I'm massaging and I can feel all the knots and everything. But the second I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, is this a knot?
Yeah.
It stops working. And I think that's what that is.
I can understand that. I feel like I'm similar in a sense that if I need to like crack down on something at work, like if I need to get her done, I put on like really loud music, like so I can't hear anything else and it's just this music blaring, but it helps me like focus, it helps me tune in. And I know that's really bizarre because a lot of people are like, how can you work when you're like got this music blasting in your ear, but it just like zones me in on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it takes me somewhere that I wouldn't be able to get there if I didn't have the music blasting in my ears.
Have you ever heard the term flow state?
No, but I know the kind of like idea of it. Yeah,
that's one I really like, is the thought of you hit your flow state.
Yeah,
it is. It's like it's same thing happens when I play sports. If you ever see me do something really good in soccer, like crazy, where I don't know, run through someone, tackle, pass the ball, whatever it is. I don't sit there and go like this. All right, I'm gonna slide tackle this guy, get up the ball, look up, see Jamie, pass it to his right foot. You're just like in the zone, but you know you're doing it. But it just happens. You don't think about doing it, right? Yeah.
It's like a subconscious action that's triggered by your state of mind, almost. Yes. Yeah.
And I'm that's what I'm trying to get more into, is I'm trying to connect with more of my intuitive side. That's why I've been basically doing everything I've been doing. Yeah. Because what I think I talked to my client. He's a naturopath. He's a shaman. He's a G. I love it. I actually am hoping one day. I asked him if he ever taught shamanism, and he said he used to and he hasn't. But if he ever did, he would for sure let me know and teach me.
Oh, that's awesome! I would love to. Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Love to do. But this makes 100% sense. This makes full sense. Okay, so. For you to get into a state like where of what I want to do via meditation and like discovering like kind of like consciousness and where it can take you. Yeah. You have to not want to do that. Because if you want this stuff, and this is actually a guy who talked about this, about consciousness, the people that find consciousness, a lot of the time they're not skeptics that hate it. They're like, there's a group of people that don't want to believe. Yeah. And they will never have anything ever happen to them. And then there's a group of people that want it so bad that can never happen to them. Yeah. Because it's the exact same thing as not believing. It's like too much of like, you're putting all your intention into that. So to actually understand and get to like a state of like where you understand what consciousness is, you have to stop thinking about consciousness and start living and just doing things and being like in the moment, as cliche and dumb as that sounds. And by doing that, hopefully you'll be able to understand what consciousness is. Yeah. So it's this weird thing of like, to get the goal of what you want to perceive, you have to stop perceiving and start living, which I think is a cool idea. It's
really it's really funny you say that, because I don't feel like I have like mastered consciousness or anything, but I do feel like I can very easily like disconnect and reconnect with everything going on around me, and I wonder if that's down that same vein.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting, because I think if you ask a scientist, they'd say you're disassociating.
Yes.
But I disagree with that, right? Like, or maybe, but you know what I mean? But you're right, like maybe it is. Like, that, because that's kind of the thing that I was thinking of, like, like, I don't know, like, what do you mean by when you disconnect? And
so my mom will tell you this, because I've done it since I was a kid. But basically what triggered it like started happening when I was 7 and I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And I was in and out of hospitals like constantly. Like,
fuck you, Crohn's disease.
That was just kind of like my life growing up. But I had this one doctor at Bristol Children's Hospital, and I get it because I was so young, but she never like engaged with me. She always kind of spoke to my parents about what was going on with my health, and I remember like all of the meetings, I would have seen her thousands of times over the years that I was, because I was at BRI for 10 years, from 7, Bristol Royal Infirmary. Okay. They had the Bristol Royal Infirmary, and then they had the Children's Hospital next door. Okay. So I was there for, would have been around 10 years. And every time they would be like, somebody would be, or not every time, but there was certain times when I was getting bad news or they were saying something that they would have to do or anything, and I would literally like shut down. And my mom always says, she's like, you just switched off your brain because you didn't want to hear it. And then I like, but you could see it was like a physical change in me, just into my head.
Yeah, but what would that be? Like,
it's not really anything. It's not, and again, this is, science will explain it by like disassociations being dissociative. But
I don't really care about that.
But you don't. It's like, it's not anything. You're just kind of like, mine is, and I noticed it because it actually happened tonight when we were working out, and I needed to stop because I thought I was gonna pass out, and then I just like, I stare. And I'm like staring, but my eyes aren't focused on anything. And I'm just like in, and I'm not connected to anything that's going on around me.
Yeah, I've been there before. I don't want to say like, oh, me too, like the disassociation, but I've been there before. Like, it happened to me today. So I walked out to see if my client was there, and they weren't there. And then so I just was, and it's one of my clients that they traditionally, they can be on time. I don't want to say they're always late, but sometimes they do show up like 5 or 10 minutes late. So I was just like leaning on the door frame, and I was just slowly cracking my knuckles, and I just zoned out so hard that like I kind of knew people were around me because people were walking around and I could see them, but it was all blurry. Yeah. And I wasn't really paying any attention. And then all of a sudden someone said something, and I could hear like, Derek, rah.
Yeah, and you like come back to yourself.
So is it like that state kind of?
It's kind of like that. I know, yeah, it is like that. It is like that. There's just like, there's obviously stuff going on around, but there's like, I'm not there.
Yeah, no, I've actually experienced that.
Yeah.
Before too. Okay, so this is kind of funny with all the stuff the universe. I have a build up. I have a climax. To all this stuff we're talking about, okay. So the universe is moving towards more complexity. Okay, and why I'd say that is like, just look at it. We started out as, we were like, man-made fire, we are champion. And then we made
now we're here.
And now we're here, and it's very evident we're getting more complex. Okay?
Yeah, that's the first statement.
So is that just how the universe works? And so then to expand on that before you answer, is that why all of a sudden there's all these like weird things happening? Like, for example, like in the 90s growing up, you said UFOs and everyone thought you were a hippie psychopath. And now 2024, we have people, or 25 people, claiming they've met aliens. Yeah. And they've worked with them and they're here. Now, is that because aliens have always been here? Or is there some weird thing where like the universe gets more complex? So as we started to discover technology, all of a sudden, miraculously, these things appear that have technology. So it's almost like in unison with what we do, everything just gets more complex.
I think my personal opinion is that aliens have been around a lot longer than us.
I agree. Okay.
Like, there are cave drawings of what could be perceived as aliens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're just appearing now. I think our technology has made it more apparent. Like, we're able to get evidence of them. Like, you think back to the fucking 70s, 80s, they didn't have cell phones. You know what I mean? So if one person looks up and sees a UFO, you can't just be like, look up in the sky right now, there's a UFO. You know what I mean? Like, we just have more accessibility and more instantaneous contact with the world, the whole world, that this stuff can be like documented more and observed more.
I've heard,
you know,
honestly, in the last month, I've heard some of the most wild stuff about aliens and UFOs that even for me has just kind of like, I don't know. Some dude some dude I just heard yesterday, he was a master sergeant on an aircraft carrier, and he spent 25 years in the military before going into like what he claims were black ops programs.
Yeah.
And he claims that he's not only met an alien, but he's seen alien craft. And he was on Joe Rogan, and he's appeared in front of Congress, but behind closed doors, and he's about to appear in front of Congress outside of closed doors. And I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, if it's true, it's pretty crazy. But I don't know.
You know me and aliens, right? But now hearing it, like some dude that knows this is happening, I'm like, I'm kind of skeptical now. Like, I don't know why, but
I don't know. I think right now it'll be hard because maybe people will jump on the bandwagon. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, want to have some meaning to their lives, so they tell people that they've seen aliens.
Yeah.
But I think all of what is happening now is kind of irrelevant because when it happens and we see them as like the world like sees like this is happening, it'll be very apparent. It won't be I heard this and heard that. Yeah.
Tomorrow
War of the Worlds happened?
No, I don't know who would be the most valid person to you. What if it was Trump or
you think Trump's a valid person to be?
I'm just thinking of world leaders or the English premier or prime minister, or not Trudeau, fuck that guy, if it was like any other Canadian, but like some big world leader who doesn't matter who, or all of them. What if they came out, what if all of them, they were in a huge line, okay? Yeah. So it's not Donald Trump, it's all of them in a line, and they're holding hands, and they went like this. We've got to tell you that there's 4 alien races that exist, and they've been on our planet for a while now.
I like that they're holding hands.
Yeah, because that's to prove the point. Anxiety Payne kisses Donald Trump.
I like, till I see it, like, people can say what they want. People, like, and let's be real here. It's fucking politicians. Politicians lie. That's their whole job.
Okay, what if was the 4 races were also there? Would that change your...
Well, yeah, obviously.
What would you think would change? What would you do different?
I don't know. See if they wanted to hang out. Like, chit chat about.
For me, at this point,
different races.
I always hoped that aliens would be the thing. Like, we're all human. Let's unite. I don't think it'd change anything at this point. I think people would try and shoot a lot of the aliens.
Oh yeah, I think that would happen. Like, but didn't that happen with like every race that was different than us throughout history?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
But it'll work out eventually. It always does.
Okay. So wait. So with all this,
yeah,
there's talk of all these like different races, okay?
Yeah.
So there's non-biologic and biologic, meaning there's some races of these things that are obviously like human-like or like life forms.
Yeah.
And then the grays that we all like, the stereotypical alien, those are supposedly, according to people, those are non-biologics, so they're like drones or clone or like robot things, right? And they're all AI,
right?
And then there's this I'm not going to call it a conspiracy. It's all this is just fun talk, okay?
Yeah.
Right? So this belief,
nothing we say is facts.
Except everything
we're about to say right now.
So it's then there's this talk of like there's basically 2 things where there's biological beings and there's non-biologicals, and the non-biologicals is everything we know, like tech, and it just naturally takes over the universe. So there's this battle, but it's not a battle of like guns and stuff. It's like anytime tech shows up somewhere, it inevitably takes over everything.
Yeah, 100%. Believe that.
Which I thought was kind of cool, that idea of like, oh yeah, there is a whole bunch of races out there. There's a biological ones, and the non-biological ones are all basically like the internet. And that goes into something I said. I think the internet's alive, and I think the internet is actually a conscious being. And I don't know if we started and it became conscious, or if it was like something that was like came here as an alien form. But I feel like the internet might be something, if you look out at the entire universe, it slowly is taking over the universe.
I don't know about the internet, but I think tech in general, like for sure, I think will 100% take over. I think AI is already conscious.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
And that's a very scary idea to me. And in our lifetimes, we will see the point where tech outsmarts us, basically, and tech advances way more than we're ever capable of dealing with, and then we will be responsible for our undoing. And I believe that will happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, I don't think you're far off on that. I think we're on the same page, but you're saying tech instead of the internet.
Yeah.
But it's the same. That's what I'm referring to. It's
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's pretend the internet tech is a conscious thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it work? It makes a drone, a UFO that crashes on far off planets. So they shoot out all these drones from wherever tech brains start. We'll call it AI, okay? Wherever AI started on planet AI. It's someone created it, it became conscious, it took over the planet, and now it's shooting all its drones out into space. So then what does its drones do? They crash land on these planets. And then if there's anything conscious there that has the ability to understand what tech is, they inevitably find it. A lot of people claim that Roswell crash is directly related to us using fiber optic cables, because Roswell was, I want to say, 47, and I'm gonna look right now. When did when was Roswell? I'm gonna say it was 47.
Yeah.
And then when was fiber optic created?
Surely not 47. Fiber optic wasn't created till way later, surely.
Oh, it actually came before.
Roswell did, or fiber optic did? Hello?
Oh, no, it was 49. 49 was when the first fiber optic was placed in anything. So, and it was used in cars, and DuPont was the people that did it. So anyhow, it could, again, I don't want to say this is like just fact, but so let's just keep rolling on that line. So 47, this thing crashes. All of a sudden, people find it. They start using it. Oh, wow, fiber optics, which eventually leads to the internet. And the internet, what is it? It's like connects everyone, and then the tech grows, and then it takes over everyone. And it's like that's how it spreads its seed. It's, Serenity, is that what its name? Or Divinity from Rick and Morty? What's the thing in Rick and Morty? And it's like a omni...
Oh, Divinity, I think.
And it's like the whole planet, everyone's one...
Yeah.
It's kind of like that same thought of like it like shoots its projections out and it slowly takes over.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Like I
know, again,
there's so many possibilities to think of and to credit or discredit. You're never gonna find the end until it happens.
I agree. Okay. So now this is kind of like, you know what? We're gonna go all the way. Okay.
Okay.
So then to just further out weirdness, this isn't like the exact same thought, but it's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
I was pulling out of the McDonald's parking lot, and at Westview,
yeah.
I had pulled in, and I was going to get a coffee, and as I pulled in, I stopped because there was all the parking spots were filled, and the guy was pulling out. So I stopped because I saw that, and then as I saw his things turn white to back up, I put mine to back up, and there was one person behind me. And they put theirs on, and we all just all slowly backed up. He drove out, and I drove in. Everything went on.
Yeah.
And it's so weird how robotic it was, and like how like what were the cues? Like I saw this guy get in his car and put his reverse lights on, which made me think, and I like reversed, and everyone. And it's just, to me, it's weird how we all kind of move in that, like, it was just very robotic to me. You don't realize it. Like tomorrow with your day, go through during your day, think of how many things you're doing and be like, wow, I always do this every day the exact same way, and I don't even think about it.
Yeah, but I don't think about it for a reason.
What do you mean?
Because it's not important.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what's so robotic about it, is there's so many things you do in a day
that
you don't even think about constantly over and over. But then when you like think of what a robot does, it's like it just does the same thing over and over.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I just don't think there's any value into thinking that way. In my personal opinion.
Well,
like,
value, I mean, I'm not like, I don't know what you mean by value. It's just a thing to think about.
Okay. Sure, I'll think about it.
Okay. So now this is kind of to wrap all this stuff, this existential thought up.
Okay.
So there was, gosh, what was his name now? Carl Sagan? Yeah, Carl Sagan, great like philosopher physicist. Mm-hmm. One of the last things he talked about was how he feared that in the future that the smart people were going to become so smart that no one could tell them they weren't right, and they would believe what they believed to be true without anyone to question what was true. And I think he was right. And so to give you an idea of that, so everything we've talked about comes back to this guy I was listening to, and he's a NYU professor of I don't know what consciousness. Mm-hmm. So his claim is the universe that we live in is a projection. Okay? And so we live in a projection. But then us ourselves are a projection. Yeah. So there's two projections. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that now, because of VR, there's a projection of a projection and a projection. And I was listening to this guy talk, and he was saying all the physics of it, and all I could think is, I was like, maybe scientists have to just be told.
Yeah, I was like, no
more, sir.
I was like, I think that's fucking hooey.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, listening to him, and he's like, basically, it's way smarter when he says it. He's like, we're a projection inside a projection of a projection, projecting, you guessed it, a projection. And I was just thinking, I was like, maybe someone just gotta be like, no, dude, stop it. You're wrong.
Stop it. Stop.
So everything we talked about, I thought that's full circle. Just
dude, no. I think if you spend too much time like trying to go into it, you'll just drive yourself insane, and you'll start coming up with those kind of ideas. And then, like you said, like if you're arrogant enough to believe you're right all the time, then that's a real downfall to your character. Like, absolutely. One of the most human things I believe is like being able to accept and admit that you're wrong sometimes. Mm-hmm. And like everyone is, we're all human. You know, I will stand on a hill until I die, or until someone tells me I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, you gotta be accepting of other people's, not even opinions, but like other people's critiques of your opinions.
Yeah. I feel like the second, like I've said this to you so many times, mm-hmm. my number one pet peeve is hypocrisy. Yeah. And it's not being a hypocrite. It's if you're so harsh to other people because of what they do, because you're hypocritically probably doing something like that's what you hate about what they're doing all the time.
You've got to have that give and take. Like, I'm very opinionated and very strong-minded. You know this. Yeah. know this. But I think it's so important, and one of my biggest values is to always admit when you're wrong and own up to it, and like not try and defend it. Just be like, fuck, okay, yeah, I was wrong. Like, I thought this. You know what I mean? If you get defensive about everything, you're just gonna be that person that lives in their own head so hard that can't be around other people. Mm-hmm. Or other people don't want to be around you because you're that person. Yeah. And I think that's a really negative quality to have in a person.
I agree. It's just hard to be around someone that always thinks they're right, because like because everyone has their own perspective. So if you're just dealing with someone that's just constantly like, I'm right, you just don't give a fuck after a while.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't care if you're always
yeah.
right. Like,
and then people don't want to be around you because you can't say anything against that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've witnessed that with, I find people that make a lot of money. It's a thing that can happen because obviously if you're making a lot of money, you're in a power position and you're pretty smart or you're successful or you're doing something right, right? And then you just kind of walk around doing that and you're in your like little space. So you are like this, blah, 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 this, and you're always right. And then especially if you're at the top of the food chain, people won't tell you you're wrong because you're kind of paying their checks or whatever. But then you step out of your zone and you're not used to that. That was a huge thing with my dad. Was I always felt like my dad was such a smart dude at what he knew. Yeah. But one of his biggest things that I always got in issues with him was he would talk out of his ass about things he had no clue about. And he had the arrogance to think he knew more than you. And so like, for example, the human body, fitness and health, he would always argue with me about like things, like everything. Yeah. And I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about, / look at you. And I would never, when he'd tell me stuff about anything to do with notaries, mortgages, investment,
like obviously,
I'd never be like, shut up, dude. I know what I'm talking about. I'd always be like, yeah. But then he couldn't do the same where he like left his. And again, I know that's anecdotal because it's just me, but that happens a lot.
Yeah. It's not just, I've noticed it with people that make a lot of money as well. It's not even that they're just they can be very dismissive of you. And like, if you don't have the same kind of paycheck or the same kind of education as them, then they can be very dismissive of what you have to say, which I think is a really fucked up thing.
I agree. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do our person of the week?
No. I don't want to do that ever.
Damn. Okay, well, that sucks. Maybe we'll just end it right now. Okay, want to do our buy and sells?
Sure.
Okay, our buy. Me was starting meditation years acknowledgement at work.
Oh yeah, I got a gift card.
Yeah, we still haven't used that gift card.
I know, I left it in my car.
You got a gift card and I ended up
paying for dinner.
Meal. Yeah, it was sweet. You know what my buy of the week was? Buying dinner when we had a gift card.
That's not a buy. You can't put that as your buy.
Why?
Because that's not a buy.
I loved that.
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
If you got another buy or?
No, you can go first.
Okay, my buy of the week could be celebrating my birthday with my pals.
Birthday, silly. Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
Okay, my buy of the week is being told I don't have a buy of the week. What was my buy? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was fun singing karaoke. It was just fun.
Yeah.
I know that's kind of a cop-out because it was yours.
But it was a fun time, so.
Okay, so mine's going to be a chintzy one again on this. So soccer cleats 1 week late. Soccer weeks 2 weeks late. This is going to be a rolling one until I
don't think those cleats are going to arrive.
I'm actually kind of on the fence about it. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, look at what happened to the ones I bought you for Christmas a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Like I ordered these soccer cleats for Derek for Christmas, and it was funny because I told him I couldn't afford them, and then I ordered them anyway, and then like a week after Christmas, I think it was like a week before Christmas, they were just like, oh yeah, we don't have any stock to send you. And I'm like, well, why did you take my fucking money and tell me for 3 weeks that they were on their way?
Yeah, I don't know. This is a thing I have a problem with. It's the same thing as the airlines. I don't have a problem with them being like, we don't have it in stock. I have a problem with they take your money right away, tell you for 3 weeks, and then when they reimburse you, it takes forever.
Yeah.
And there's no repercussion.
Yeah.
Like, you should maybe get, I don't know, you should get, like, interest on them charging your credit card or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
3 months or something. And I know it's just so dumb. It's like the same thing as airlines. Like, they reschedule you, they cancel you, they all this stuff, and you just have to take it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's so dumb, because, like, if I was an independent airline, I would get fucked. Like, anything independent, it's just as soon as you become, like, big box, you all of a sudden can fuck people over.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid.
It is.
And you had security tags still on sweaters.
Oh, yeah, that was so annoying. I still haven't got that off yet. Oof. Big oof. My sell of the week is... It was my last day of freedom before going back to work full time.
I mean, I feel like you didn't want to be off, to be fair.
Well, I'm
like, you went back from mat leave after 8 months, even though you had 12. And then now you went back to working basically full time before you had to.
I mean, well, define have to, because, like, I'm broke as shit. I think wanting to versus the extra income is a different scenario.
Well,
like, I'm so done with, like, living on the brink of not being able to afford shit.
I mean,
and I know what you're gonna say, like, that I could always ask you for more, but I hate doing that. Like, the mostest.
Yeah, but that's just, I don't know.
And I know that's just, like, family life.
But
like,
no, but
you gotta, you know what I mean?
Is you, like, you didn't have to go back to work at 8 months. I know you feel like you're like, it sucked not having money.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to. Like, you still got stuff. Like, I still fed us and all that, right?
I know, yeah. So, it's just, I think for
like,
me, it's like the lifestyle I want to live.
Which is fine. I'm not saying, like, that's wrong. I'm just saying, like, you chose to go back to work before you had to.
Yes, I did. 100%.
Yeah,
I also really love my job.
Yeah.
And, you know, spending 24/7 at home with a baby, as much as I love our baby, like, your brain kind of turns to mush. You don't, like, have a lot of adult contact, and I don't like other people, so I'm not going out and, like, making friends.
That's actually a very interesting thing that I think I'm going to get into.
Okay.
Well, I don't believe in the idea of retirement. I don't believe in the idea of sitting at home. Like, it doesn't surprise me at all to hear that you were bored just sitting at home with a baby.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have anything to do with Juliet or being a baby. It's just like, yeah, why would you want to just sit around at home? Because I don't think we're meant to just sit. And when I say just sit around, I know you were taking care of the baby and stuff. I don't want to, like, make it seem like you're just picking your nose or something. But we're just not meant to sit around. And
no.
I tell all my clients this. I told my client this week. People that retire, you got to start doing stuff. You can't.
Yeah.
If you know who old people are, they're the people that they retire at 65 or 55, and it doesn't mean you have to go get another job. It means you just have to keep doing stuff. You can't, like, for example, my mom.
Yeah.
She's starting to do stuff, not a lot, but that will be the best thing for her as she gets older.
Yeah.
Is to be like, oh my God, on Tuesday, I have to go to choir. Oh my God, on Thursdays, I'll pick up Juliet from her schooling. Yeah. And maybe it's an air quotes inconvenience. Yeah. But the fact that my mom asked to record, oh, on this day, I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's what keeps you going.
Yes, 100%.
And people that sit around, I watched it with my ex's parents, or grandparents, they both retired and just sat in rocking chairs and watched CNN. And you can imagine what they look like.
Yeah.
Like, just were like these, like, super old looking people.
Prunes.
They just sat there and ate. They were overweight and just like Like, and again, like, that's nothing wrong with being overweight. It's more like the way they were. It's like they looked like they were molded into their chair, and they were just sitting there and they were just watching CNN in the rocking chair. And every time I'd see them, I'd hear their stories about when they were younger and then they retired.
Yeah.
And I'd always look at them and be like, yeah, it looks like you retired and just stopped doing everything.
Yeah.
Which, like, I think an ideal retirement is you retire and just don't have to work.
Yeah.
You're still going and doing things. Maybe because you have enough money, you go do charity work or you help out at the local library. Just not like
something.
Just not sit around.
My parents keep putting off retirement. Like my mom loves to work, and I get it. I'm this like my thing is I really like to learn. If I'm in a job where I'm not learning, I'm not super motivated to kind of be there. But when I'm like learning and I have responsibilities and I need to get shit done, then I thrive in that environment. I love that so much because it's like it's just it's brain food. It's like I like my brain working hard because then at night it's tired and it wants to go to bed. Whereas if I'm not doing that, I'm just like I need something, you know what I mean? And I just think that stimulation I wasn't getting from singing nursery rhymes and doing baby puzzles.
Yeah, and some people do. That's why I always think it's crazy people that are teachers.
Yeah.
And they teach little kids. Like, I'm just like, man, it must be so hard to spend your entire life teaching grade 2s or 1s or kindergartens. Like, good on you. Like, someone needs to do it. So I don't want to like knock that person.
Yeah.
But it just must be like a weird place to always have to go to.
Yeah. I couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't do it either.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look at both of your parents though. You're saying like your dad loves his job.
Oh,
like,
he loves it. Yeah.
Like because the whole fact that he doesn't stay here for 3 weeks because he has to do his job.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure your dad could take 3 weeks off and be okay. Like it's more.
Yeah.
It's more.
100%.
It's more. He feels like he can't take 3 weeks off, which I'm sure it helps. Every time you make money, it helps.
Yeah.
But I think in his heart, in his being, it makes him feel really good to do what he does.
Yeah, massively. And I mean, like, even though my dad isn't in, you know, the best shape in the world, it keeps him fit, it keeps him active. Like, the summer before I moved to Canada, I went out and worked with him. And it's not like he's, like, planting flowers. He's, like, using a chainsaw to chop down trees and climb up ladders and put fences in. You know, it's a super active job. So I'm really glad he has that. And then my mom, I think, mom's a beast. Yeah, I think it's more for her brain that she keeps working because she just has never been able to sit still.
Yeah, but well, I mean, your mom's pretty high up in what she does too, and I feel like you don't get to where she is from just chilling.
My mom's super successful.
So like to be your mom and then get to where she is and stop, I feel like she's probably looking there being like, I've worked so hard, now I get to do this, and this.
Well, she was like maybe 3 years ago. I don't know how long she's been with the British Legion, but I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. She was talking about retiring because she was working as a civilian in the Navy, and she was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna get to this age and I'm gonna retire and I'm gonna give it all up. And literally like a year before her retirement was up, she was like, oh, so I got a new job. And I'm like, what do you mean you got a new job?
She was telling me that's like when I first met you guys.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And I was like, what do you mean you got a new job? So I was like, so I guess you're not retiring next year. And she's like, no, I'll keep going for a little bit. But she loves her job now and she's good at it.
I knew one of the most successful lawyers in Vancouver as a client. Like extremely successful, one of the biggest law firms. I'm not going to say the biggest because I don't know who that is or how it exists, but they were like mega. And he was like 75 or 80, like super old. And the dude was awesome. And I met him a year before he retired. And then within 3 years of meeting me, he died. And he retired. And then basically all these health problems started. And I can't help but feel he was a lawyer to the extreme of like he'd eat shit, drink a lot, and not take care of his body because he was too busy lawyering. So he was a bigger, unhealthy dude. But when I met him, he seemed fine, and then he retired, and it seemed within a couple months of retiring, that's when he started like declining and being like, oh, I gotta go do this, and I'm noticing this, and he saw me all the time. So like I was chatting with him, I'd call him like, I don't know, I have a few clients I'd call friends in a weird way, or people I care about, but he was one of those where I cared about him and I knew him, and it was just very, again, weird to me to see someone that retires and went from normal to very sick and died. And the only like correlation outside of getting older is they retired, stopped doing everything, and then died.
Well, it's like I think of it like, you know, when you're in a car crash, it's not the actual crash that causes the damage because your organs like move with your body, but it's when like you stop moving that the injuries happen. So it's kind of like that, the same sort of concept of like, if you keep moving, you're good, but then as soon as you stop, it's like your organs hit your rib cage. That's why you should never wear seatbelts.
You're here first.
No, I'm actually a big advocate for seatbelts. Everyone wears a seatbelt. Yeah, should we crack a bottle?
Yeah, we're on 10 in. We should probably just finish her.
Yeah, finish her, wrap her up.
All right. How do we
Wait, do you want to do a poem?
Oh, sure.
Because you told me you did a new one.
Well, I do a ton.
Yeah, but you told me you did a new one this week.
Sure. Do you have poems?
I have some I can read.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember which ones I did.
You only did one.
No, I didn't. I
didn't
do two.
add my newest poem. That sucks. The one I was so hyped on.
Yeah.
That one's not on here.
Oh, really?
That sucks. It's on my phone. I just don't want to.
Oh, maybe we'll do it next week.
Yeah, I can do it different.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
Her face told a story like lines on a map, tracing memories.
Nice.
Yeah.
Damn, that's really good.
Thank you. I saw like a super wrinkled old woman and I just thought, oh, I bet every line in your face tells a story. Like, you know, like laugh lines and stuff.
Yeah, that's good. That's
aging really gracefully.
Deep. And then you told me why you wrote it and it made it That's good though. I really like
I'm that. Also starting to get wrinkles, and that's why I noticed, and then I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter.
I'm a big believer in you want wrinkles, because my ex, she purposely did resting bitch face, and she had a lot of people that didn't like her, or I shouldn't say didn't like her. They felt like she was very unapproachable and very rude and stuff like that. And her whole thing was resting bitch face, and it was all because she didn't want wrinkles. And she would constantly tell me to not do this or smile as much because, and I've always been like, I was like, yeah, but like, who the fuck wants to be an unwrinkly 80-year-old?
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking
weird. If it bothers you that much, just get Botox at that point, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just a weird thing. So I've always felt like wrinkles are just a sign of a good life.
Yeah.
Unless you have like sad wrinkles.
Yeah. Or like leather granny wrinkles from spending too much time in the sun.
I listened to a guy that was he was a CIA interpreter dude interrogator dude. He said one of the biggest things on someone you can tell if they're like inquisitive or not is they're under their eyelids, or sorry, if they're easy to manipulate, is how many wrinkles are under their eyelids. You just did it there. You're not easy to manipulate.
Because it's like a thinking phase.
Yeah, if I go like this to you, Neve, the pyramids were built by cats, and you go like this. That means so you think about things.
Right.
Or if I just say they were built by cats and you don't think as much, you just go, okay. And he said it's a huge tell.
Yeah.
So it was like saying his whole, like, the podcast he was on was talking about manipulating people, and that was the biggest one. He said, like, there's a ton, but he said if they have really smooth under their eyelids, no wrinkles, it's more likely you can just tell them stuff and they'll believe you.
Crazy. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I was gonna say I have really wrinkly under eyes. That's definitely not
just
me.
For the viewers, me and Neve are just
squinting at each other. Also, but that could be from if you smoke a lot of weed because your eyes close.
I think it's more of a generalization. So, like, fair enough. Okay, you're smoking a lot of weed, and the guy's like, "Yo, I think this guy's conspiratorial and weed smoke could also go together."
Yeah, hand in hand, baby.
Okay.
You got to do your poem.
I know. I just trying to decide which one. The Early Morning Bugler is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Sorry, everyone that's having to just hear the silence. I'm just trying to decide which one.
Anytime you're ready.
Should I go? Okay, I'll go sweeping for peace today.
Okay.
I sweep my open plan garage every Sunday. It's pointless. By the next wind, we'll have blown everything from the garden. By the next wind, we'll have blown everything from the garden back in again. It's a simple task, but at last it soothes my mind, it soothes my soul. The grand things feed the ego, the simple things feed the soul.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Thanks.
It was funny when you said next, but there'll be more blow. And I was like, Derek, you can't say that on a podcast.
Right. Right. There's someone listening an hour and 16 minutes.
Yeah, probably not.
All right.
Hi, Joey.
Well, yeah, Joey, thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow. If you made it this far, you found out our special guest.
It's Joey.
Bye.
Bye.